How's it going, guys? I'm Josh and this is the Z Garage. And if you saw last week's video, we started going ahead and wire wheeling off the underside here so we could put some rubberized undercoating on. And we've gone ahead and I've finished everything else out in the front end on that side. We hit all these areas here that had a lot of rust on them, got them down to nice bare metal, and we're gonna go ahead and start masking off areas that we want to put the rubberized undercoating on. I got some primer here. We're gonna go ahead and prime the bare metal surface. Technically, you can put the rubberized undercoating on bare metal, although I kind of want to put some primer on first just so that there's a second layer right there, just in case we get any rock chips or anything coming up at that, the rubberized undercoating. So I'm going to go ahead and primer, mask things off. We're going to go ahead and scuff any of the nice paint that I have on the interior because I just wire wheeled the fender wells and underneath. Any of the paint that we put on the inside here, we're gonna go ahead and scuff it up just so it's got some nice grip, some mechanical adhesion for that rubberized undercoating. And then we got some seam sealer as well to replace all of the stuff that we took off. So I'm gonna go ahead and start masking things up here. We'll prime all of the bare metal areas first, and then I'll mask it off after that because we wanna go ahead and get as much coverage on that as possible. And then I think we'll be good to go ahead and just start laying on some rubberized undercoating. So hopefully you guys are excited for this. I know I am, and let's see how it turns out. All right, guys, we got this area painted up really nicely. I obviously masked it off and put some plastic around just to go ahead and block off the rest of the car. Not that the paint was good on it anyways, but we want to go ahead and make it as consistent as possible, obviously. And then just kind of spray it all up in here. Anywhere that I really went pretty hard with the wire wheel to get all of the grime off, and there was bare metal, I went ahead and just put a pretty nice coat on all of this. The other side looks pretty much the exact same. Now I'm going to go ahead and let this dry just a little bit, and then we're going to go ahead and seam seal. I went ahead with a pick and actually picked away a lot of this area right here. Let me get the light for you guys. All right, if you guys can see, there's actually 3 pieces of metal, technically 4 kind of, coming together right here. Obviously the piece that the windshield sits on, and then we have the A-pillar, and then 2 pieces from the fender right here. And they all come together and we get 2 areas where we need to go ahead and fill in with seam seal. These areas had seam seal in them and I picked it out. So we're gonna go ahead and reseal this back up after the paint dries. So we'll go ahead and get that really nice and good. I might smear a little bit around that piece of metal right there just because I noticed there was a little bit of rust forming right there. And we want to go ahead and just seal that as best as possible. But we'll go ahead and seal this up. I'm probably going to eventually repaint this front piece here, so I don't really care that it is gray, but we will go ahead and probably repaint that closer towards the end when we start repainting the rest of the car as well. So that's looking pretty good. We'll seam seal all of that area right there. We'll seam seal the inside of this right here, and then that seam as it goes down right there. Obviously, I'm going to go ahead and seal up those holes, and then I think that is it for seam sealer. Obviously that corner right there, but that should be it. So not too much work. Let me go ahead and show you the seam seal I'm using just in case. This is 3M08362. It's a seam sealer, urethane seam sealer, and then you got to get one of these, caulking guns to go with it. Together, that should be good enough. I did both sides at the same time, so I can go ahead and seam seal one side, smooth it out. I have some gloves that I'm going to go ahead and use, and then go to the other side, seal that out as well, because I don't really know how to keep this from kind of going bad once you kind of open it. So I'd rather just do it all at once. And that's the only seam seal that I think I'm ever going to need again. You can always put the little curly cues on the end, but I don't know if that actually saves the tip here from getting too gross. So either way, we'll go ahead and save it, and then if we ever need it in the future, see if we can reuse it. But this is kind of just a one-time use thing in my opinion. So looking really good. I'm going to let this dry up, and then we'll go ahead and put on some seam sealer. And then after that, we'll let the seam seal dry and then get into painting. So let's check back in after I've done some seam sealing. All right, guys, so you can see I went ahead and painted it and then put the seam sealer all along all these seams. It's looking really good. This is the spot where I had the hole, and that is a stainless steel plate that I had. I went ahead and put some I put the bead around the actual holes themselves. Then I put that plate on, and then I put a bead around the plate itself. So that should be fairly well sealed. It looks a little janky, but nobody's going to see this part of the car, so I don't mind too much. And then we got a good fill up around here where all those pieces connect, and then all along up there. I left this part open because this is kind of like, I mean, it'll drain a little bit out of this hole right here, but I wanted a little bit of airflow through there as well. Not that there's going to be too much issues, but just any of these other seals, I wanted those sealed up as well. I did do a bead along this front edge here. There was one originally, so I just put it back. I think that is pretty good. I did follow this back to about right here. I could have gone further, but this is the area that really I was seeing a lot of the issues with the original seam seal, so I'm not too worried about going back further at all. So I went ahead, pulled off all that stuff, and then I went ahead and masked off kind of where I want to paint. You can see it goes up around the transmission tunnel, and then along the frame rails there. So I think we are ready to go ahead and put some of the rubberized undercoating on. I was just reading the instructions. We need to go ahead and mix it. We want to use it between 50 and 70 or 90 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's a little cold right now, but it's still above 50, which is fine for us. It's just going to take a little bit longer to cure. It says that you can paint over it again after like an hour, but a full 7 days is the cure time for the undercoating. So that might lead us to do something different next week. We'll go ahead and see though while we wait for this to fully cure. I'm going to go ahead and start on this side here. I'm going to do the outside underneath of this fender apron around the bottom of this fender well, and then I'll wrap my way around. And then I did decide, so I'm going to go up on here, and I do actually want to go ahead and coat these headlight buckets, just because they kind of have a lot of spots where water can just sit in them. And I do have pretty good paint coverage in here, but I kind of want to go ahead and make sure that it's, extra secure. The issue with that is that my harness here has a bunch of sand in it from getting sandblasted, and I'm going to have to go ahead and pull all the sheathing off and then just like rewrap the wires myself, mainly because they look kind of gross, but also because there's so much sand everywhere. But because of that, I'm going to go ahead and do 2 passes. So one where it's like the majority of the inside of the fender, and then up around here. And then I'm going to go ahead and end around these holes here where I cut in my fender for the intercooler pipes. And then I will go ahead and do the this part of the frame rail, this underneath part, and then the same on that side. And then the second pass I'll go ahead and just go around that hole and then up on this edge here and the bottom of this bucket as well. When I can go ahead and pull the entire wiring harness backwards a little bit. So we're just going to be doing 1 pass on the majority of it for now, and then we'll do the second headlight buckets a little bit later. I am doing the front end conversion, if you remember, so I will go ahead and get to the new headlights, and you do need to drill a hole for them. So I will go ahead and drill that hole before I do that, so we can go ahead and cover the new hole as well. So looking really good. I'm super happy with how it's coming out. Let's go ahead and get to putting some paint on. So hopefully this goes well. All right, guys, as you can see, we've gone ahead and painted all of the interior parts, and you can't really see right now, but underneath the fender wells as well. And guys, this looks really, really good. I'm super happy with how it came out. I ended up using about half of the paint, so you could definitely do a lot with this. I'm going to keep it for if we find anything else in the rear of the car that we want to do. But it really wasn't that hard. I used 2 types of paint applications. So this right here is a like a foam roller. It goes on that little brush handle right there, that guy. This is super cheap on Amazon, of course. Bought these little paintbrushes as well on Amazon. I used half of each of these. So this was a 10-pack here, I think. Actually, this was a 12-pack is what it's looking like. And then that was a 10-pack. Used half of each of them just to go ahead and... Those ones were nice because you could kind of hold a lot of paint in them, but the tiny paintbrushes were actually better at kind of making sure that they got to where, or the paint got to where you wanted it to go. So other than that, I was going to do the headlight buckets. I ended up deciding against it, mainly because one, it's going to be really hard to get in there, clean it, and then sand it, and then paint it, and then make sure it's all nice and looking good. And nobody's going to see the headlight buckets really, so I don't really mind keeping them kind of not as perfect as they could be. They're fine right now. They're white. They're going to collect dust. It's just kind of how it is. I might revisit in the future. Obviously, I've got some extra paint, but I think I'm going to go ahead and leave those for now, just because it was kind of a lot of work to do what I already did. I split this up over about 3 days of painting, mainly because of my schedule. It's not like it took that long. I think you could probably do this in a good 5 or so hours. The painting portion of it, obviously, it took me a long time to wire wheel it all down as well. So if you did one weekend where you wire wheeled it and then the next weekend where you painted it, I think you'd probably be pretty good. Guys, I do want to do a quick note. This stuff really, really stinks. It obviously says it on the container, but you want to be wearing a gas mask for this, you know, like a painting mask. I'll put a link in the description just to the one that I'm using. Again, it's not an affiliate link or anything. It's just the one that I'm using that works really, really well. It's actually really comfortable. You have to use it. I'm not going to say I recommend it. You have to use it for this stuff. It will really make your throat and everything hurt if you don't. I mean, I'm only, you know, breathing this in, you know, a couple days after I put it on originally, and I can already feel it hurting me a little bit right now. So doing this outside in a well-ventilated area, while you're painting at least, and then making sure to wear a gas mask really, really helps. So let's go ahead and look at the wheel wells real quick. Really, really nice, consistent black coating across all of this here. This area right here was kind of hard to get because of the bracket, but it wasn't really that bad in the first place. So all this looks really good. I got the bottom of the frame rails. I got this front kind of area right here and the bottom of it. So the entire bottom part of this car is, or at least the front part here, is coated in this. Looks really, really good. So I'm super happy with it, guys. You can see we painted over all of the areas over here. That plate that's just chilling there, that probably could have used another coat, but it's stainless steel, so I don't really care too much about it. You might be able to see right there a couple drips. You could make this paint run pretty easily if you weren't careful. If you just left it, it dries pretty fast. So if you guys wanted to make like I was trying to make, you know, big spots where I was working on, and I kind of ended up just getting a few runs in it. Obviously, nobody's going to see any of this. This is all just for protection, so I don't care too much. But if you wanted it to be perfect, you just have to take your time, go a little bit slower, make sure you even it all out really nicely. I had to do 2 passes on most of this, just because the first pass, you would put it down, and then it would dry a little bit, and then you'd realize, you know, there's a section that I didn't quite get enough. You could see some white underneath it, or at least it's white for me. So it took about 2 passes, you know, but that was fine because I did this side, and then I did the frame rails, and then I did the other side, and then I came back and touch-ups for all of it. So really not too bad. So I'm super happy with it, guys. Clearly, it took a while, which is why we didn't have a video last week. But I'm really glad that I took the time to do this. I'm glad that I took the time to do the wheel wells and not just the frame rails here. So I'm really happy with it, guys. I don't know what we're going to do next week. I haven't decided on if I want to go ahead and start working on this loom. You can see it is pretty gross, nasty. I could really go ahead and use a good sheath, like a new sheath and engine harness wrap on it. So that would be nice, but I don't think I have the supplies for it. And I kind of need to put a little bit more thought into what I want from it. So that might take another week or two. So next week we'll go ahead and see what we're going to be working on. Obviously, something. We do need to replace the front cross member from that guy over there with our naturally aspirated version, because we're going to be putting the the AC compressor down there. There's really not much else work to do here in the engine bay, and I am looking forward to it, guys. We're making some good progress. Feels good to finally have this coming to a close. So I'm really excited. Guys, if you've made it this far in the video, I appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and give you a real sneak peek real quick because I'm kind of excited. I just got this over here. I'm going to come by and boom, look at this nice exhaust. We just got this. It took quite a while to get it. Bordering on a year and a half from when I placed the order to when I got it. So it definitely was a long lead item, and it did cost quite a bit too. So if you can have a local shop do your exhaust, I would recommend that. But obviously this is very pretty, and I appreciate just how nice it's going to fit the car, because obviously it was built specifically for it. So I'm happy, guys. Hopefully next week we can get some good progress done. We will go ahead and see. It might take a week, just like last week, to go ahead and sort some stuff out. Maybe do some other projects around here. I've got some laser engraving stuff that I'm really trying to get onto the store, but I just haven't had time to completely nail down. You know what? another sneak peek for you guys because I like you all for staying so long in the video. Here are all my fun things that I've been working on. So this is something that's coming out here pretty soon. If you don't know, right here is where a VIN plaque goes in the engine bay of your car. And here is the reproduced plaque that I'm working on. This one, it burnt kind of weird, but you can see it's got the really cool, this is a stainless steel plate. It's got the really cool, you know, pattern on it from heating it up. And then I do have an anodized black one that looks really good as well. I think it's in a different room though, so I won't show that to you. But these are going to be available on the store soon. I do want to tell you guys, I'm not sure the legality of changing out your VIN plate. So these are decorative only. You should not affix them to your car. But let's just say that I will have mounting hardware for your original plate if you happen to take your original plate off and want to put your original plate back on. And then if you just want one of these for your desk or something, that would be cool as well. But you probably should not put these on your car just for the legality of VINs and everything. So that's looking really cool. Super excited for that. Go ahead and put this over here. And I've gotten a lot of new tools recently. This is a Craftsman, this guy right here. I got a new, it's just a small 5-gallon, what's this called, vacuum. So this was very nice, not too expensive. I think I got it at Home Depot or Lowe's. I don't remember, one of them delivered it to me. It was Lowe's actually. So that's cool. Got a heater obviously for working in here. The paint liked to be at a certain temperature. I've got some more batteries for my drill, Chinese ones of course, because those were cheaper. And I've obviously got some more cool stuff here on the way. And I will show you guys when the time is right because I don't want to spoil it too soon for you. So looking really good. I'm super excited. Hopefully we can get some good progress done on this here in the near future. Like I said, there's really not much more work to do. So I'm super excited for how this is going and how this is going to come out. I'm fingers crossed that in the next 2 to 3 months we have this done and driving because I really want to put some miles on it before Branson Z Fest just to make sure we can shake out all the kinks, make sure the new transmission that we have is actually working properly. So that's pretty much it, guys. I'm going to stop rambling and let you guys go, but I hope you have a great week, and I appreciate it, and I will see you guys next time.